Hello and welcome to the Single Session blog, where we talk about all things single session. My name is Alicia and I'm coming to you today from the traditional territories of the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabe, right very close to Lake Ontario today, here in Ontario, Canada. So I'm super excited to talk about today's topic. It's going to be about how we see our clients. So it's a continuation a little bit from what we talked about last week, where the belief system, the philosophy, or sometimes it's called the guiding principles of the single session clinician is actually so important when it comes to outcome. Now, these are things that actually precede the doing, because what we know, of course, is that belief precedes action. Thoughts precede action. Which is why to do this well, we have to do the work of training our thoughts, honing our thoughts, being in touch with our thoughts about the people that we are working with prior to actually seeing them. So one of the beliefs that is so important, but at the same time so challenging to maintain, not just as a single session therapist, but I think just as a clinician in general, is the idea that clients are capable of change no matter what. Now again, this is one of our sort of head noddy things where it's like, of course they're capable of change. But in reality, when you are looking at the person, when you are sitting in a room with a person who has gone through things like addiction, or is struggling with homelessness, or is in an abusive relationship and is trying to leave for the 10th time, we can easily be caught up in the spiral of like, is this person really ever going to change? But then what happens is we fall into the despair with our clients and we stop being helpful. So it is actually part of our job to maintain the belief that no matter what, no matter how rough things are, no matter how troubling the circumstances, no matter how down and low a person is in front of us, it is our job to maintain the belief that somehow, who the heck knows how, there is a way out of this, and that the person in front of us has the capacity to somehow figure it out. Maybe not 100%, maybe not all the way perfect, but at least to begin the momentum of change that's going to lead them in a direction that is good and right for them. I can think of so many examples of this in my clinical practice, but one that just actually came up for me the other day was I was seeing a client, and I'm going to change some details so that confidentiality is maintained, but I was seeing her and it was the first time, and she came in really low. Now this was a person that has struggled with mental illness her whole entire life. You know, she's sort of 20s, late 20s or early 30s, I would say, and just difficulty. And again, not even her fault. You know, she grew up in foster care. There's just all kinds of things that have happened to her. And she was low, like really low. So we established safety in terms of suicide and all of that kind of stuff. She was very clear that she had no plans to actually take her own life, you know, but at the same time also felt so stuck by her past, by what had happened to her, all of those kinds of things. Now, in that moment, when I'm hearing this, I get to make a choice. I get to make the choice to either fall into that story with her, get down into that with her, but if I do, then that sense of hopelessness, that sense of despair also begins to overtake me, and I stop having the ability to actually do my job, to actually do the thing that she's coming to me to see, which is to remind her of her ability to move forward. So what I need to somehow do is, again, be able to listen through the problem story to those little bits, sometimes they're called glimmers of things that come up in the story that allows me and hopefully her to see the hope. Not big hope, like things are going to be easy moving forward, but just that little bit of like movement, little bit of a shove, a little bit of a breath that allows people to say, okay. Now, this woman I saw, I don't know how long ago, maybe it was a bit. She came back though quite recently. So it was sort of like 2 single sessions because there was like a large period of time in between. She came back like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and she came back because she had since gotten married, she had gotten a job, she'd finished school, and she was currently in a healthy relationship, which she identified as being healthy, for the first time ever in her life. And the reason that she wanted to come and have a session with me again was because she was worried she was going to mess it up because things were so perfect. And I was like, holy camole. If you had told me that this would be the person that I was meeting with today when I saw her however long ago, I would have been like, I don't know. But what happened is, again, I remembered that it is my job to see through the problem story and to invite her into a dialogue where she becomes able, where she becomes capable, where there is hope, even though the problem tries to convince her that there isn't. That's all for today. See you in 2 weeks.